Welcome to the FMC Lounge, everyone. I am your host, Joe for Show, and in this video, we're going to be going over my updated Ines guide. I'll be talking about mutant cells, arcade tuning, external component cores, all the different builds I use, and the weapons I use for her. If y'all can do me a favor, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. It would help with the YouTube algorithm. I'd appreciate it a lot. Now, enough of the yapping. Let's jump straight into the video. Our first build is going to be a mobbing build. It's going to revolve around Time of the Hunting Hounds. If you don't know what this does, it completely changes your third ability, and it makes both your first and your third ability all tech, and your second and your fourth ability are already tech, so your reactor to buff all your abilities. Now here are the mods. Go ahead and get your screenshots. We are running 2 cooldown mods, which is going to help us have a 1.3 cooldown, 2.6, 1.9, and 11.5. We're also running focus on tech and focus on electric for even more cooldown, and then we're running front lines, skill insight, and skill concentration, 3 skill hit damage mods. Then we're running 2 range mod, and we're running veteran tactic. This will help reset our skills with a chance when we kill the enemy. Just make sure it's fully maxed. I don't have the capacity spot, as you can see. If you want a little bit more damage, you can replace one of these or both of these for the blue version, the tech specialist. You're just gonna lose a little bit of cooldown, so keep that in mind. There's multiple different routes you could go for Ines build with the mods and stuff. Some people, they'll take off skill insight for emergency measure, which is gonna give it more crit hit damage, but you're gonna lose a little bit of skill critical hit rate. They will make that up in the arcade tuning. I'm not doing that. I like it just how this is, just whatever comfortable for you. I recommend doing that. For our reactor, we are using a skill cooldown and skill critical hit damage, and it is electric tech reactor. The cooldown crit hit damage is a must. It's how you're going to get the lowest time possible for your abilities and the most damage to skill critical hit. For our external component core, we are rocking a 4-piece bravery set, and the main reason why we're rocking this is for the 4-set bonus. You have 20% chance to reduce a random skill by 1 sec each time, and combining this 4-set bonus with the veteran tactic, it helps reset your 4th ability from 11 seconds. You don't have to wait that long. It could go just completely reset to 0. So it's a great way to spam your 4th ability multiple times instead of just usually having only 2 and you're gonna have to wait. You can have possibly 3, 4, or even 5 and 6. For our external component core, we're rocking HP and defense, HP and defense, HP and defense, HP and defense. Now our main weapon of choice is going to be the Secret Garden. It's going to be this weapon for 2 reasons. One is the unique ability. When you use a tech, you get pest control, and pest control 50% trigger rate, and what it's going to do is increase our skill power to stack up to 3 times. The other reason we're using this is because of the sprint speed core. This is going to give us more movement speed and let us try to keep up with the bunnies. Here are the cores and substats. Keep in mind for the stats, I had those stats on this gun before Ines even came out. Don't try to use these stats as a reference for the Secret Garden with the new recent buff that it got. I haven't tested the gun out yet. You wonder if this is going to do the most damage. It might not, it might will. I don't know. I haven't tested. And then here are the mods. Again, I put these mods on months ago before even Ines Raya came out. I don't know if these mods are the best for do the most damage after the new buff that Secret Garden got. This is just what I had on before. So don't try to use this as a reference as, you know, the best mods for the gun after the recent buff. And our other weapon is Last Dagger. You use this mainly just to help kill yellow bars if you need to. Here are the cores and the substats. And then here are the mods. You would change this element to whatever, you know, the enemy's weak to. This is just smithereen. You don't need this, but here it is anyway. The cores, the substats. I have fire attack because I use this shotgun for Serena on Ice Maiden. And then here are the mods. You change this element to whatever the enemy's weak to. For our inversion reinforcement, we are rocking biodensity for a little bit more HP. Selective nerve stimulation to help with the MP, and we're rocking archaic circulation tactic. When we hit an enemy with a skill, it's going to help with the skill cooldown as well, which is going to just help all of our abilities to constantly spam it over and over and over. For our arcade tuning, this is the route I went. I wanted the enhanced skill power, the enhanced skill cooldown, and for the mutant cell, I went with electric cohesion. Some people, like I was saying earlier, they will replace the skill insight and they will throw on emergency measure. And if you went that route, you would have to come over here and get more this critical hit rate and possibly even this MP up here. And you would have to get rid of these range mods and this little extra damage. I felt it's not worth it. Do whatever you want. It's preference end of the day. Now you can see right here, I have 3 crit hit damage mods. My arcade tuning, I had crit hit damage, a little bit of MP. I am still able to have 100% crit hit rate without having to, you know, run 4 crit hit damage mod or change the arcade tuning. I went with as much damage as possible while having the lowest cooldown possible I can. Here's a quick little gameplay of me showing you how the build works and everything. Now here's another mobbing build. This is still going to revolve around time of the hunting hounds. Here are the mods. Go ahead and get your screenshots. Mods are basically the same as before. The only thing changes is we took off veteran tactic for decimator so we can do more damage. This build is all about doing more damage instead of having a better cooldown. Now our cooldown is still really low, as you see, 9 seconds. Our reactor, same as before, electric and tech, skill cooldown and skill critical hit damage for the substats at the bottom. And then for our external component core, instead of rocking the veteran tactic to help reset our abilities much faster, we're going with the 2-piece plague for that 5% tech, and then the 2-piece hunter set for the skill cooldown. And this is how we have a 9-second cooldown. This route allows us to do a little bit more damage. We're just not going to be able to spam our 4th ability as much as veteran tactic build will let us. So it's up to you which one you want to use out of the 2 builds. If you want to do even more damage, you can just rock a 4-piece Slayer set, which is going to give you that 26% extra skill power, which will allow you to do a lot more damage. The only thing is, when using the Slayer set, your cooldown is going to be at 11.5. So you got to decide, do you want the veteran tactic build so you can have your skill abilities on a much more lower cooldown, basically reset almost every time, you can spam your 4th ability more often? Or do you want the plague and hunter component set where you'll have a 9-second cooldown but you're going to do more damage? Or to get the most damage possible, you can just run the 4-piece Slayer set and have 11.5 cooldown for your 4th ability. It's up to you. There's 3 different versions you could use of the builds depending on the components. Just decide which one fits your playstyle best. Now our main weapon of choice is going to be the Secret Garden. It's going to be this weapon for 2 reasons. One is the unique ability. When you use a tech, you get pest control, and pest control 50% trigger rate, and what it's going to do is increase our skill power to stack up to 3 times. The other reason we're using this is because the sprint speed core. This is going to give us more movement speed and let us try to keep up with the bunnies. Here are the cores and substats. Keep in mind for the stats, I had those stats on this gun before Ines even came out. Don't try to use these stats as a reference for the Secret Garden with the new recent buff that it got. I haven't tested the gun out yet. You wonder if this is going to do the most damage. It might not, it might will, I don't know, I haven't tested. And then here are the mods. Again, I put these mods on months ago before even Ines Raya came out. I don't know if these mods are the best for do the most damage after the new buff that Secret Garden got. This is just what I had on before, so don't try to use this as a reference as the best mods for the gun after the recent buff. And then for our last dagger, same as before, here's the cores and substats. And then here are the mods. You would change this element to whatever the boss is weak to. And then here's the smithereen. There are the cores and the substats. Remember, I have fire attack because I use this shotgun for Ice Maiden with Serena. And then here are the mods. You would change this element to whatever the enemies are weak to. For our version reinforcement, it is the same. We're still rocking arcade circulation tactic, selective nerve stimulation, and biodensity. And then for the arcade tuning, we're still using the same one as before. Nothing changes. Our mutant cell is electric cohesion. I wanted enhanced skill cooldown and enhanced skill power. And even though I'm only running 3 crit hit damage mods and my arcade tuning, I had none of these crit or that much MP. If you notice, if you can look here, I still have a 100% skill critical hit rate with a 5 crit hit damage. Now for our next build, this is going to be our Purge build. And go ahead and get your screenshots. If you notice, we're not running any Transcendent mod. The main reason why, our main source of damage is going to be our 3rd ability, Discharge, and our 1st ability. And we want to use as singular. When you use the other Transcendent mod, Time and Hunting Hound, it changes it to tech. And how long it takes to set this up to do damage compared to this, it's a penalty when it comes to Purge. Because Purge, you don't want to be stationary for too long because the enemies do a lot of damage. Now for the mods, we're running 2 cooldown mods, 3 crit hit damage mods, focus on electric, focus on singular, decimator for a little bit more damage, and then 2 range mod. If you feel like your character is too squishy, you could sacrifice 1 in range mod for HP mod, or if you feel like custom resources is draining too quick from you spamming your abilities, you could run a skill cost mod instead. It's up to you to figure out which one works best for your build. For our reactor, we went with an electric singular reactor with skill critical hit damage and skill cooldown. 2 stats at the bottom is a must. And then for our components, we're still rocking the 2-piece plague set just for that extra 5% singular, and then we're using the 2-piece hunter set just for that extra cooldown. Now for our reactor, we're rocking electric singular reactor with for the 2 substats. You want skill critical hit damage and skill cooldown. We're using electric singular instead of electric attack because our 3rd ability and our 1st ability are singular archetype when you're not using the Transcendent mod. For our external component cores, we're still using the 2-piece plague for that 5% singular skill power, and then we're using the centering army 2 set skill cost 6.5%. For our weapon of choice, you only need 1 weapon. It's the last dagger. Make here the cores and substats. Make sure they are chill because that's what the enemies are weak to in the wave 10, the Legion of Darkness. And then here are the mods. For our inversion reinforcement, we went with biodensity for more HP, neural focus augmentation for even more HP, and then chill focus round because the wave 10 enemies are weak to chill since the Legion of Darkness. And then for our arche tuning, it's the same as all the other builds. Nothing changes. We're rocking, you know, I want to enhance skill power, enhance skill cooldown, and our electric cohesion is our mutant cell. And if anybody's wondering, we do have 100% skill critical hit rate. Now for our last build, it's going to revolve around plasma ball. This is more of a tank build. It's not a skill damage build. You use most of your damage with your weapons. This build actually doesn't have no place in game right now, but in the future, if there's something where we need to be really more tanky and just do a lot of weapon damage, this build will be valuable then. And so here are the mods. Go ahead and get your screenshots. Don't know what plasma ball does. It removes the skill critical hit rate from our MP. Instead, it creates a barrier around us. I have the cooldown of 16 seconds, so every 16 seconds this is going to reproc. And the health of your shield is based off how much HP you have and how much max MP you have. And then the defense of the shield is based on how much defense that we have. For our mods, we're doing 2 cooldown mods, and then focus on tech, focus on electric. You don't need to have these fully level up. We're just using these just to have, you know, the cooldown, just to have the cooldown of 16.7. We're rocking enlightenment for more max MP and an agony for more MP and a little bit of defense. We're rocking another defense mod and then 2 HP mod. This last slot, it's up to you what you could put. I previously was using this build for Defiler, and I would rock perfect venom for the poison immunity, but you could rock any of the other, you know, immunities, you know, anti-freeze, electrocution immunity, or, you know, burn immunity right here if you want. For your reactor, you actually want to run a skill duration, skill cooldown. It doesn't matter the element. We're not doing skill damage. The mounting doesn't matter either, or the skill power boost ratio doesn't matter. Only the 2 substats, which is duration, cooldown. And having that extra cooldown and duration will actually put us at a 12-second cooldown, and our duration will be 66 seconds if the shield doesn't get broken. And for our external component cores, we're rocking 2-piece moving fortress, so we get that 25% extra defense. We're using 1 sprinting sensor because it's a defense component, and then we're rocking another defense support processor, which is another defense component. And then for our external component cores, HP and defense, HP and defense, HP and defense, HP and defense. For your weapon of choice, it's going to be whatever the meta is. And as of right now, it's slash dagger. So here are the cores and substat. You use the element to whatever the boss is going to be weak to. And then here are the mods. You use the element whatever the boss is going to be weak to. And then ATAM is a great source of, like, you know, raw straight damage at the moment until other guns get a major buff. Here are the cores and the substat. And then here are the mods. You change these elements to whatever the boss is weak to. For our inversion reinforcement, we're using void resistance just in case if our shield break and we're on a cooldown and our health gets lower than 50%. It's gonna help us survive better. We're using neural focus augmentation for more HP. And then for the last one, you change this to whatever the boss is weak to. Just remember with this one, you will have to kill the little trash mobs that the boss spawns to get that extra MP, which will make your shield more tanky. For our arcade tuning, I went with just pure gun damage. Now, if you're using multi-hit damage weapon, you want to go this route. If you're not using multi-hit damage weapon, you would take all this multi-hit stuff off and come up here and get, you know, the critical hit rate, some of this enhanced firearm and all that. You can also go down this route to get more HP and a little bit more defense to make your shield build even more tankier, or come over here and get a little bit more MP to get more health. I just wanted to get as much damage as possible with the shield build because I feel like I'm already tanky enough as it is. So if you need a reactor for Ines Raya, unfortunately the electric tech reactor, there's not a stack spot to farm it no matter what rotation it is, so you will have to look at the weekly rotation and hope that it's a good farming spot. But for the electric singular, check the pin comment down below. I have a YouTube short showing you where easy farm is to get electric singular for the Purge build. But that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully this guide helps you choose what kind of builds you want to make for Ines Raya. But on that note, I'll catch you on the next video.